few paragraphs, how to recognize Dakini. Are you interested in? How do we know? How do we meet Dakini? You know, there are lots of things people talk about. Met Dakini, or Dakini has this shape and this and that. So I was also curious. This is the part of chapter 5, Great Master Encountering Her, Dakini. So it's a story about Great Master, how Great Master encountered Dakini. By exploring that, then we got some hint of how to meet Dakinis. That's the part of the Dakini journey. No? So I talked about all the story, different stories, Great Master encountering Dakinis, including Lama Tsongkhapa. Of course, also great Mahasiddha's stories, great scholar, adept Lama Tsongkhapa. Then I said, all these stories illustrate that Dakini is not usually conventionally recognized. Even great masters fail to recognize her. That's kind of comforting, no? And how can we recognize Dakini? Right. So I did a lot of inquiries. I'm asking to myself, It sounds like a teacher asking you, no, I'm asking to myself, how can I recognize Dakini? Naropa advised, look into the mirror of the mind, the mysterious home of the Dakini. The mysterious home of the Dakini. That is the mirror of the mind. As we know, Dakini doesn't live in the usual or obvious places we assume she might. She is hidden, ambiguous, elusive, and elusive in nature, living in a thin or subtle plane where we often miss the opportunity to meet her. It's a channel ground part of ourselves that we don't want to see. We have this blind spot, this fear-invoking vulnerability, shadow. Remember, the channel ground is a symbol of everything we reject and completely the opposite of what we want looking for. In this scary and disparate place, Dakini emerges, dancing and laughing as she points out who and what we truly are. Dakini is so intimate with our subjectivities. So that's the kind of key thing here, subjectivities. That if we are genuinely curious about meeting her, we have no choice but to turn our attention to our own meditative practice. Dakini affirms this. So now Dakini's voice through me, what I heard from Dakini. I am the symbol of your innermost spiritual development, particularly your direct realization of emptiness and luminosity. Then I quote Judith's thing. Judith Sima Brown beautifully describes how a practitioner encounters Dakini in the context of the primacy of subjectivities and the transformation of the practitioner's mind. So this is the quote. She shows her body to be empty and as vast as limitless space. In her heart is revealed the ultimate nature of reality. And within its vastness are all phenomena. Looking into her heart center, the practitioner is looking into a mirror, seeing the mind and the entire world in a dramatically different perspective. One cannot see such a sight without being transformed. We need to understand and be aware that her appearance and identity are purposely self-secret, non-self-existing. So when we say to see or to meet Dakini, It's really about the purification of our awareness. When we peel off our perceptions and the conceptualizations that get in the way, we can see her. If our mind is pure, we can see everything as pure. In Tantra, this is called the sacred outlook. Then we can see Dakinis in whatever appearance she manifests. We recall the story of Kyumpo Nenjo, a 10th, 11th century Tibetan master who traveled through India to find the awakened Dakini as his teacher. As he searched, Dakini instructed him, if your vision is pure, you can see her face anywhere. If your vision is impure, you will never find her, no matter where you look. Since she has reached awakening pure stages and has attained a rainbow body, nevertheless, sometimes she appears in the great channel ground of Sosa Park Forest to lead a group of Dakini in Vajra feast. He finally found his teacher Ninguma in the form of dark brown, ferocious Dakinis. Hovering in space, we are throwing to the 10 directions the gold that Kyumpa Nenjo offered her. Ninguma proclaimed, when you realize that, your many thoughts of anger and desire which churn the sea of existence have no intrinsic nature. Everything becomes a land of gold, my child. Yeah, this is one of the many things I wanted to convey. I felt strong about relating to Dakinis. Solidify Dakinis, I mean, which of you, me including, a tendency to solidify. Especially in the West, we didn't have this kind of mystical figure, or maybe not mystical, but Dakini is something very mysterious and far beyond our reach, or something like that. People try to search Dakinis here and there, going this place and that place, wandering, and of course possible. But in our practice level, as a practitioner, really look into the subjectivity, our own mind and the practice. It's about practice. There are different dimensions of Dakinis: external Dakini, internal Dakini, and then most secret Dakinis, and deepest dimension of Dakini. So if we find the secret dimension of Dakini, then we meet the external and the internal Dakini.